On March 21, 2019, a city bus was making its way down Fremont Street in Las Vegas. Passengers sat quietly in their seats, unaware that what would happen during that routine ride would soon make headlines across the country. All of it captured by the bus's security cameras. Among the passengers that afternoon was 74-year-old Serge Fournier. Friends later described him as kind, soft-spoken, and unfailingly polite. The type of man who held doors open for strangers and always said, "Thank you." Fournier walked with the help of a folding cart, using it to steady himself and carry his belongings. Another passenger on the bus, 25-year-old Kadesha Bishop, was in a very different state of mind. Witnesses later told police that Bishop had been shouting and swearing throughout the ride, directing profanity at nearly everyone around her. According to police reports, at one point, Fournier leaned toward her and calmly said, in a friendly tone, that she should be nicer to the other passengers. Moments later, the bus came to a stop. The doors opened, and passengers began to exit. The onboard security cameras captured what happened next. Footage released by Las Vegas police shows Fournier slowly making his way toward the door, holding his folding cart as he prepares to step off the bus. Behind him stands Bishop, visibly angry. As Fournier steps down onto the sidewalk, Bishop suddenly lunges forward and shoves him with both hands, a full-force push straight into his back. The elderly man stumbles forward, unable to catch himself. He crashes face first onto the pavement, his cart clattering beside him. Passengers shout in shock as Fournier lies motionless on the sidewalk. Bishop does not help him. She does not even look back. Instead, she takes a seat inside the bus, leaving him where he fell. The bus driver radios for help. Someone calls 911. Dazed and injured, Fournier initially refuses medical treatment. He insists that he'll be fine. But later that night, the pain became unbearable. He goes to the hospital, where doctors begin to uncover the extent of his injuries. Over the following weeks, his condition steadily worsens. He suffers internal injuries that his body is unable to recover from. On April 23, 2019, more than a month after the shove, Serge Fournier died. The Clark County Coroner's Office ruled his death a homicide. When police review the surveillance footage, there is no ambiguity about what happened. They identify the woman responsible as Kadesha Bishop, who had disappeared after the incident. It takes several weeks before officers are able to locate and arrest her. She is charged with murder of an elderly or vulnerable person, a serious felony. As investigators dig into Bishop's past, they learn this was not her first violent outburst. She had 2 prior convictions for misdemeanor battery before the bus incident. Police records revealed a pattern of anger and aggression, moments where she lashed out physically at others. In court, prosecutors argue that Bishop's actions were reckless and deliberate, that she shoved Fournier with enough force to cause fatal injuries. Her defense team counters that she never intended to kill him, claiming it was a moment of frustration that spiraled out of control. After years of legal proceedings, in 2023, Kadesha Bishop pleads guilty to a reduced charge, abuse of an older person resulting in death. In exchange, prosecutors drop the murder charge. On the day of sentencing, Bishop, now 28 years old, appears before the court. The judge hands down her punishment, 8 to 20 years in prison, with credit for 252 days already served. A brief encounter, a single shove, and consequences that could never be undone. This case left little doubt about what happened with the security camera capturing the whole ordeal. And now, in this next one, the footage exists too, although understanding it came far too late. Quick interruption. If you're enjoying this video, why not hit that subscribe button? We're on a mission to hit 500,000 subscribers, and when we do, 3 lucky fans will win a limited edition CreepyVids hoodie or shirt. Right now, 61.4% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, and your support helps us make even more awesome videos. So, don't miss out. Subscribe now, and let's get back to the video.
Alright, hey folks, this is Noah, getting my blog live. Trucks and trucks and lots of trucks.
This was the very first footage Noah Harpham ever posted to YouTube. After years of having an account without uploading anything, Noah finally decided to document his thoughts on camera. On October 29, 2015, he uploaded his first video to a self-titled channel, naming it simply 102915, Video Blog Number 1. The description was minimal, just a brief greeting introducing himself to the platform.
No, but I did want to dissect just the beginning of a sermon given by a Pastor Bill, a guy that my dad has been following, taking ideas from for 10 years at least. He and his family, 2 kids.
In the video, Harpham paces back and forth inside his home, speaking directly to the camera. He talks about a pastor named Pastor Bill, a religious figure he believed was influencing his father and family in a negative and dangerous way. His tone is tense, emotional, and increasingly agitated as he speaks.
I've been ignorant of it for a long time, so I wanted to look at it, and I challenged him just to look at 15 minutes of this sermon.
Noah provides very little context about who this pastor actually is. He only mentions that he had been unaware of the situation for some time, and that this video was his response after trying, and failing, to convince his father that something was wrong.
I've been waiting, and I haven't heard anything. So I was going to just post my reply, and I guess that's how I'll start my blog.
What exactly Noah believed this truth to be remains unclear. The lack of explanation makes the video difficult to follow. Viewers are left without enough information to understand who Noah is, who Pastor Bill is, or what specific actions Noah is responding to. Despite the confusion, Noah ends the clip by making one thing clear. This was not meant to be a one-off upload. He says this video blog was only the beginning, the start of a recurring series focused on his thoughts, his perspective, and his camera.
The blog is just going to be me with a video camera, and that'll be it. We'll see what happens.
Before any future uploads could be made, viewers noticed that Noah had pinned a link in the video description. The link led to a blog post he had written earlier that same day, titled, "Is my dad in a cult? Even worse, is it satanic?" In the blog post, Noah attempts to provide additional context for the video. He breaks down a sermon delivered by Pastor Bill, whom he identifies as Bill Johnson, a well-known preacher affiliated with Bethel Church in Redding, California. Johnson had a large online following, and his sermons regularly drew thousands of viewers. Despite the sermon being over an hour long, Noah dissects it line by line, criticizing nearly everything that was said. As the post continues, his writing becomes increasingly hostile and disorganized. The more he writes, the angrier his tone becomes, and the less coherent his arguments appear. He writes that he believes the church's leadership is using mind control techniques to manipulate followers, claiming they are deliberately keeping people confused, dependent, and emotionally vulnerable while profiting financially. He accuses Pastor Bill Johnson and church leaders of exploiting belief systems to keep people in a constant state of waiting and submission. The blog offers a disturbing glimpse behind the scenes of the man seen in the video, someone who appears deeply paranoid, angry, and mentally unwell. The post makes it clear that Noah's intent was not discussion or debate, but exposure and destruction. Video blog number 1 was supposed to be the beginning of that effort. There would never be a video blog number 2.
Colorado Springs 911, what's the exact location of your emergency?
It's at,
Repeat that one more time for me and make sure I had it correct.
well, it's across the street from me. I'm calling from my address.
Tell me exactly what happened.
Well, there was a guy walking around with like 2 cans of gasoline or something, 2 small cans, and a big, like a rifle. It was black, and it had a strap around it. He's walking up to doors and stuff.
Just 2 days after uploading the video, Noah Harpham's life took a sudden and irreversible turn. At 8:35 a.m. on Halloween morning, a woman named Naomi Bettis called 911 from her home in Colorado Springs. She reported seeing a man walking through the neighborhood carrying several gas cans and an AR-15 style rifle slung over his shoulder. She didn't know it at the time, but the man she was watching was her neighbor, Noah Harpham.
And then I seen that he walked into the building, and glass window at that business is broke.
And that's a business? What's the name of the business?
I have no idea, but I just know I don't know if it's a fake gun, BB gun, but it looks pretty scary.
As the call continued, Naomi explained that she had watched Noah enter a nearby business where a window appeared to have been broken. While she couldn't confirm a crime had already occurred, she told dispatch that the situation felt deeply wrong and potentially dangerous.
Everyone.
Okay. And you said it looked like a long gun, correct? Like a rifle?
Yes,
Well, it is an open carry state, so he can have a weapon with him or walking around with it, but of course having those gas cans, it does seem pretty suspicious, so we're going to keep the call going for that.
Okay, and the window's broken to that business downstairs, so.
Right. And you said he's now upstairs, correct?
Yes.
And are you or anyone else in immediate danger?
No.
Okay.
The dispatcher appeared to downplay her concerns, stating that the call was only being logged because the gas cans might be suspicious. Shortly afterward, the call was ended. One officer was initially dispatched, but was quickly redirected to what was deemed a higher priority call at a senior center. No one arrived to check on Noah. Despite this, Naomi continued watching from her window. 4 minutes after her first call ended, and 10 minutes after she initially reported Noah's behavior, she dialed 911 again.
I just called a few minutes ago, and the guy came back out, and he fired a gun at somebody, and he's laying on the street dead. Oh my God, you sent an ambulance too.
This time, her voice was frantic. Naomi told the dispatcher that the man with the gun had just shot and killed someone outside her home.
Oh my God.
Okay, calm down, okay? Stay with me. I'm just putting that into the call. Is anyone in immediate danger?
No, that I can see or see. Oh, no.
In response, the operator oddly asked whether anyone else was in danger. Naomi, clearly shaken, initially said no, then immediately realized Noah was walking toward Platt Avenue, a busier area. She tried to explain that others were likely at risk.
Maybe on Platt Avenue there might be people in danger.
Naomi, I need the suspect's description. Do you know his name?
No, I don't.
Okay, is he white, black, Hispanic, Asian?
He's white, and he's got long curly hair coming out of his cap.
As she spoke, her fears were confirmed.
I think, there's people outside that might be in danger up on Platt.
Okay.
Oh, I just heard another gun fire. Oh my God.
Naomi heard additional gunshots while still on the line, prompting her to beg dispatch to send help immediately.
Yeah, they need to call an ambulance or something right away.
Okay. Is anyone in immediate danger?
Only people up on Platt, maybe.
All right, I am sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line and I'll tell you exactly what to do next, okay?
Okay.
Only then was she told that police and medical responders were being sent. By that point, the damage had already been done. In the minutes following Naomi's first 911 call, Noah Harpham had attempted to set his house on fire using gasoline. When that failed, he shifted his focus outward. He stepped into the street and confronted Andrew Myers, who was riding his bicycle through the neighborhood. After seeing the rifle, Myers stopped and pleaded with Noah not to shoot. Noah responded by firing multiple times, killing him instantly. Andrew Myers was the man Naomi had seen lying motionless in the street. From there, Noah continued walking. He encountered two women sitting on the porch of a nearby sobriety center, Christina Gallegos and Jennifer Vasquez. Without warning, he opened fire, killing both women. They had no connection to Noah and had never met him before. Noah walked for over a mile before police finally located him. When officers ordered him to stop, he turned and immediately fired at them, triggering a large shootout. When it ended, Noah Harpham was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation revealed that Noah had no relationship with any of the three people he killed. The attacks appeared entirely random. No manifesto was found. No clear motive was ever established. What investigators did uncover was a history of severe mental health struggles. According to his parents, Noah had long battled anger issues, substance abuse, and bipolar disorder. His final online posts reflected that instability, filled with paranoia, rage, and fixation. What remains especially unsettling is the timing. Noah uploaded his first video just 2 days before the killings. It was not meant to be a one-time outburst. It was the beginning of something he fully intended to continue. Yet less than 48 hours later, 3 innocent people were dead. And many have questioned how different the outcome might have been if Naomi's first 911 call had been taken seriously. Police had nearly 10 minutes to intervene, more than enough time to potentially stop what was coming. Instead, Noah Harpham was left unchecked, and the consequences were permanent. The case raised questions about warning signs, mental illness, and missed opportunities to intervene. The next one is different though, not driven by chaos, but by calculation, deception, and a lie that captured an entire nation. Susan Smith's story begins in Union, South Carolina, in the fall of 1994. On the surface, she appeared to be a young mother trying to hold her life together. She was 23 years old and had 2 sons, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alexander. She had married their father, David Smith, but the marriage was unstable and strained. Those close to her later described Susan as someone constantly seeking affection, validation, and reassurance, often feeling unwanted and insecure. At the time, Susan had become emotionally invested in a new relationship with a wealthy young man named Tom Findlay, the son of her employer. She convinced herself this relationship represented a fresh start, a chance at the stable, ideal life she believed she deserved. But there was a problem. Findlay made it clear he did not want children, and he did not want to build a future with someone who already had them. He eventually ended the relationship in a letter, stating plainly that he could not accept the responsibilities that came with her life. The rejection devastated her. On October 25, 1994, Susan contacted local police in a state of visible distress. She claimed that earlier that evening, while stopped at a quiet intersection, a black man had approached her car, forced her out, and driven away with her children still strapped into their car seats. It was a horrifying account, one that immediately triggered widespread fear and urgency.
I mean, they've got people everywhere looking for them. I mean, you know, you can hear the helicopters out there, and but they haven't seen anything, and it's crazy. And it's been since 9 o'clock last night, you know, and I really thought that when it got daylight they would find them just in a heartbeat, but they haven't.
Was there anything about the demeanor of the man that gives you concern?
No, in fact, when he made me get out of the car, I tried to get my children. I just begged him, please let me take them. And he said no, he didn't have time because they were in car seats and it was going to take time for me to get them out of the car seat. And he just told me, he said, but I won't hurt them. And he just took off. But he had a gun, and my big thing is they were screaming, hollering, crying, and I'm just scared that he just lost his patience or something, you know.
News stations across the country aired her face, her story, and her emotional pleas. The case exploded nationally. For 9 days, Susan Smith became a constant presence on television. She stood before cameras crying, shaking, and begging the alleged kidnapper to return her children.
First of all, I would like to say to whoever has my children that they please bring them home to us where they belong. And I have prayed every day, and there's not 1 minute that goes by that I don't think about these boys. And I have prayed that whoever has them, that the Lord would let him realize that they are missed and loved more than any children in this world. And that whoever has them, I pray every day that you're taking care of them, and know that we will do anything we will to help you to get them home back to us. I just can't express it enough that we just got to get them home. That's just where they belong, with their mama and daddy. I want to say to my babies that your mama loves you so much, and your daddy, these whole families love you so much. And you guys have got to be strong, because you are. I just know, I just feel in my heart that you're okay, but you got to take care of each other.
Viewers at home were deeply sympathetic. Many believed they were witnessing a grieving mother living every parent's worst nightmare. But investigators were uneasy almost from the start. Detectives quickly noticed inconsistencies in Susan's story. The intersection she described didn't function the way she claimed. The traffic light, she said, forced her to stop would not have turned red without another vehicle present. Yet she insisted the road had been empty. Small details failed to align, and those inconsistencies grew harder to ignore. Investigators began to suspect that Susan knew exactly where her children were, and that there had been no carjacking. Search teams were sent to nearby bodies of water early in the investigation, including John D. Long Lake just outside town. At the same time, Susan was asked to take a polygraph examination. The results reinforced detectives' doubts. Her account did not hold up. On November 3rd, after hours of questioning, Susan Smith confessed. She told investigators what really happened. That night, she had driven to John D. Long Lake with her son still strapped in the back seat. She placed the car in neutral and allowed it to roll forward, slowly at first, and then down the embankment into the water. She stood there and watched as the car sank beneath the surface. Then she walked away. When the truth became public, the reaction was immediate and fierce. Sympathy turned to shock, anger, and outrage. In 1995, Susan Smith stood trial. Her defense attorneys, David Bruck and Judy Clark, both experienced in death penalty cases, did not dispute that she killed her children. Instead, they focused on her mental state at the time of the crime. Expert witnesses testified that Susan suffered from severe mental and emotional disorders that impaired her judgment and distorted her thinking. The prosecution rejected that explanation. They argued that Susan acted with clear intent, that her children had become obstacles. According to prosecutors, she believed that removing them would allow her to pursue the romantic future she wanted with Tom Findlay. The state sought the death penalty. The jury deliberated for just 2.5 hours before finding Susan Smith guilty of murder. During sentencing, they chose life in prison over execution. She received 2 life sentences to be served concurrently, making her eligible for parole after 30 years. While incarcerated, Susan Smith continued to draw attention. She was initially housed at Camille Griffin Graham Correctional Institution in Columbia. In 2000, 2 correctional officers were charged after engaging in sexual relationships with her. Following that scandal, she was transferred to Leith Correctional Institution in Greenwood. Over the years, reports described her behavior as emotionally unstable and volatile. When her first opportunity for parole came in November 2024, the board denied her request. According to official reports, she reacted with visible anger and frustration upon hearing the decision. Susan Smith remains incarcerated at Leith Correctional Institution today. But that can't be said about who you're about to see in this Ring doorbell footage. It shows a woman moving quietly through an apartment complex corridor, stopping door after door, gently testing the handles to see which ones might be unlocked. There's no panic, just deliberate movement, as if they're checking possibilities rather than reacting on impulse. Clips like this have become disturbingly common online. In many similar cases, these moments happen late at night or in the early hours of the morning, when most residents are asleep and far less alert. Whether it's confusion, intoxication, or something more intentional, the reality remains the same. An unlocked door is an open invitation. No forced entry, no alarms, just opportunity. As the footage spread, viewers quickly began dissecting every detail. Some pointed out that the person didn't clearly appear to be a woman at all, suggesting it may have been a man, with long hair making it harder to tell. Others were unsettled by the eyes, describing them as vacant or unnatural, as if something wasn't right. A number of people speculated that the individual could have been under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Some went even further, suggesting something darker, that the person didn't seem fully present or in control. One detail, however, stood out to almost everyone watching: the knife held in their mouth. Whatever the explanation, that detail alone didn't suggest harmless intentions. It shifted the tone of the footage from strange to genuinely threatening. Despite the attention the video received, no additional information ever surfaced. There were no follow-up reports, no identification, no explanation of who this person was or what they intended to do. And that uncertainty is what makes clips like this linger. A quiet reminder that even places that feel secure can become vulnerable in an instant, and that sometimes the most unsettling encounters are the ones with no clear ending at all. Videos like this feel uniquely modern, captured by smart devices and shared instantly online. But disturbing amateur footage existed long before doorbell cameras ever did. While the internet has completely transformed how we consume amateur media, giving everyday people a direct platform to share content with anyone in the world, it might be surprising to learn that long before social media existed, there were already ways to watch the kind of casual, unpolished footage we now associate with TikTok or Reddit. Today, if you want to see something shocking or bizarre, you might scroll through a subreddit like Public Freakouts or CrazyVids. But in the late 1990s and early 2000s, you didn't need the internet for that. You could simply turn on your television and watch shows like World's Most Amazing Videos or Destroyed in Seconds. These programs were essentially the cable TV equivalent of a subreddit. They existed for one purpose: to showcase amateur footage centered around a specific theme, accidents, stunts, strange behavior, and then talk about it. And once YouTube exploded in the late 2000s, most of these shows disappeared. Online video made them obsolete, offering faster, easier access to endless clips of real life. One show, however, survived. America's Funniest Home Videos, often shortened to AFV, became the longest-running primetime television show in American history. Over 36 years on the air, it has produced more than 800 episodes. Today, the show has largely become a polished fail compilation, and for many viewers, it's lost much of its original charm. But before Web 2.0, AFV filled a very specific niche. It recreated the experience of scrolling through random online videos, without the ads, rage bait, or algorithmic manipulation. Looking at it now, it's not hard to understand why people still watch it, even decades later. For many, it was a staple of childhood. Each episode encouraged viewers to send in their own home videos to be judged on the show. A studio audience would vote on their favorite clip, and the winning submission earned a prize. Over time, that process created an enormous archive of amateur footage. Since the show began in 1989, millions of tapes have been submitted. It's not unreasonable to assume that AFV may hold the largest collection of amateur home video media in history. According to ABC, as of 2024, the show has reviewed more than 2 million submissions. Only a tiny fraction ever made it to air, typically lighthearted, family-friendly clips meant to be safe for all audiences. Which raises an unsettling question: what happened to the rest? In 2014, a Los Angeles-based artist collective called Everything is Terrible, often shortened to EIT, gained access to a storage unit containing roughly 300,000 home videotapes. While it's never been officially confirmed, members of the collective have strongly implied in interviews that these tapes were rejected submissions from America's funniest home videos. Everything is Terrible was originally known for remixing forgotten or strange pieces of professional media. But with access to this archive, they began a new project focused on something far darker: the bizarre, disturbing, and unsettling amateur footage buried inside these decaying VHS tapes. That project became Memory Hole. The Memory Hole YouTube channel is, in many ways, the David Lynch version of America's funniest home videos. Where AFV enhances humor through editing and sound effects, Memory Hole uses those same tools to amplify unease. Clips are presented without context, paired with unsettling ambient soundtracks, and edited in ways that feel deliberately disorienting. The videos cut abruptly from one moment to the next, with no explanation or narrative structure. The intention is clear: to strip meaning away and let discomfort take over. You may have seen similar videos online, uploads titled "Only with Numbers," designed to feel like cursed or forbidden recordings. This style deliberately echoes the fictional videotape from The Ring, where the horror comes not from violence, but from surreal imagery and a sense that something is deeply wrong. Few channels execute that effect as effectively as Memory Hole. If there's one Memory Hole video that encapsulates the project perfectly, it's shaving cream torture. The entire upload focuses on a single clip. A man sits restrained in a straitjacket, his body covered in shaving cream. He holds an 8-ball in his mouth and stares wide-eyed into the camera. Nothing happens. That's it. The sheer existence of the clip raises disturbing questions. It's difficult to imagine a scenario where someone believed this would be appropriate for a family-friendly television show. The footage feels closer to something illicit or exploitative than a harmless home video. I attempted to trace the clip's origin through reverse image searches and archival digging, but nothing surfaced, which is common when researching Memory Hole content. Normally, I try to uncover background information or context surrounding clips like these. Here, there simply isn't any. Most of these videos were recorded before the internet existed. The people who filmed them are anonymous. The subjects are unidentified. There are no explanations. The phrase memory hole refers to a place where unwanted information is discarded, erased from history. In a way, that's exactly where these videos exist. They survive without connection to their creators, stripped of meaning, frozen in time. Memory hole isn't something most people can watch for long. It's abrasive, unsettling, and often anxiety-inducing. Watching the videos creates a constant sense that something terrible is about to happen, even though it never does. What the channel ultimately offers is a glimpse into humanity's strangest edges, made possible only through the collision of pre-internet amateur media and modern digital distribution. Memory Hole still uploads occasionally, but its peak passed years ago, and it's hard to imagine another project like it ever existing again. There are no mysteries to solve, no conclusions to draw, no satisfying explanations. Just fragments, preserved long after everyone involved disappeared. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, click to see more on the video on screen.